All right, guys. So on this channel, we have checked out the EarFun AirPro 4 and we've checked out the AirPro 4 Plus. Both of those earbuds have been incredible values for what you're getting. But today, EarFun has released the EarFun AirPro 4i, which is trying to bring even more value because this is the most inexpensive model out of those three because they only come in retailing at $59. But right now they actually have deals, which I'll have linked in the description, where you can pick these up for around $45. And I'll go ahead and say this right now, if this is a spoiler, then it's just a spoiler. This is the best sounding earbud that you're going to find for under $50. But we are going to check out a lot of the differences. We're going to check out a lot of the features that these have to offer and see why I think this is just a hell of a bargain coming in at 45 bucks. Now, from a design standpoint, it is still the stem style design. It did lose the little circular design that it has at the top of the stem. In fact, these are smaller, and so is the case. It's just a smaller form factor, definitely easy to just kind of throw in your pocket, and it's not going to take up a whole lot of space. Now, the earbuds do use touch controls, and I am happy to say that just right out of the box, you do have control over everything. So you don't have to go into the app and switch some things around or give up something to be able to get these to do something else. Now, as far as some of the features, it's kind of weird on this aspect because on Amazon and even the notes that I have, it says Bluetooth 5.4, but it clearly shows in the box that these have Bluetooth 6.0, which already makes them more advanced from a Bluetooth standpoint over the original AirPro 4s. But a huge difference between these and the other two that I mentioned is these do not have Snapdragon sound. So they don't have that soldered on chip from Snapdragon. So you're not getting aptX lossless or aptX adaptive, but they are still high-res wireless certified because they still support LDAC playback. And I think this is kind of a smart move here because there are a lot of devices that don't support Snapdragon sound anyway, because you have to have a phone that has that to be able to take advantage of that. So they went the route of just not even having that compatibility and just going with LDAC on its own. Another thing that they did pull from these is they do not have smart sensors, so it does not pause when you take them out of your ears, and it doesn't just resume when you put them back in. But it does have a gaming mode, so if you're looking to kind of cut down latency for gaming or watching a movie, you do have that on this pair. And this pair also has a theater mode, which is basically like the 3D sound. So I've kind of found this beneficial for, again, gaming and movies, but I do not like this for music. Another thing that they did leave off of this pair that you can find on like the Plus model, I can't remember if it was on the original Pro 4s, is this pair does not support Auracast. And I've said this, that I think this is like the future technology. This is a technology where you can connect to a public TV or a PA system if you're at a concert or, you know, something like that, and it just pumps the audio straight into your earbuds instead of having to rely on speakers at an event. So I like this feature, and I'm kind of bummed out that it's not on this pair, but I do understand that, especially for something you can get as inexpensive as it is. Now, this pair does have adaptive active noise canceling, and in my opinion, this one is surprising that they kind of kept the same noise canceling here. I found that it is just as effective as it is on the Pro 4s and the Pro 4 Plus. The noise canceling is very solid. It is adaptive noise canceling, so it does kind of just change depending on the environment, the situation that you're in. And again, I found it to be pretty effective. Not even just against lower tones, it does a really good job of kind of blocking out people talking or anything that has like a higher tone to it as well. Now, another difference is the drivers that they're using. They've had different drivers in each one of these earbuds. The original AirPro 4s used a 10mm composite dynamic driver, where the Pro 4 Plus used a dynamic driver and a balanced armature driver, where the 4i is using an 11mm titanium coated composite driver. So it is using a larger driver than the Pro 4. It doesn't have as many drivers as the Pro 4 Plus, but once we get into the sound, we'll talk about how impressive it is what they're getting out of that single dynamic driver. Now, the case on here does support Qi wireless charging, so that is a huge plus. The battery life, though, speaking of the charging, is the weakest out of the three, but it is still very solid battery life compared to other earbuds in the market, because on a full charge, you can get 9.5 hours out of the earbuds, and you're going to get about 40 hours using the case. Now, if you're going to use it with the noise canceling on, it is going to drop your battery life down to 6.5 hours on the earbuds and about 27 hours total using the case. But this pair also has a fast charging feature where you can charge for only 5 minutes and get 2 hours of use. So battery life is very impressive in my opinion, even though it's not the same battery life that is on the other two models. I still think you're getting all day battery life, especially, obviously an 8-hour job. You can use these all day and not have to worry about charging them. Now, if you are going to use these outdoors, they also come in with better protection against your surroundings. The original AirPro 4s only had IPX5, where the 4i is coming in with IP55. So on top of getting pretty decent water protection against rain, sweat, and things like that, you're also getting some decent dust protection. So if you're using these at a job where you have dust flying around, or if you're at the beach, you don't have to necessarily worry about these getting damaged. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, it does have 6 microphones total. It's using a combination of environmental noise canceling and AI to kind of pick up what your surroundings are and try to block out a lot of that, and then just kind of focus in on your voice. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test outdoors using the Pro 4i. It is slightly windy, so you may hear some wind noise. Other than that, though, I really don't hear a whole lot. But this is just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call public. So now let's talk about the sound. And this is probably the aspect I was surprised about the most, because these honestly hold their own against the other two. And they definitely hold their own, and in my opinion, kind of beat any other earbud that you can get under 50 bucks, especially if you like a dynamic tuning, because these do not hold back when it comes to the bass. It does not hold back when it comes to the treble, and I feel like the mids are kind of pushed slightly forward. So it's kind of going for that consumer friendly sound, but it's doing it in a way where it's not allowing the bass to just roll over everything else. The bass has a lot of punch. It even has a slight amount of looseness to it. So again, it kind of replicates giving you what a subwoofer is normally trying to do. The mids, I felt like were pushed just forward enough that no matter what genre I was listening to, vocalists always stood out. It didn't blend in with everything else. It didn't get lost in the mix. A lot of instruments had really good representation as well. And the treble is definitely bright on this pair. Now, I wouldn't say it's harsh. I can tell that they're pushing it about as high as they can without hitting that point of being harsh, but it is extremely detailed. So like the crash of cymbals really have a lot of presence, just has a lot of brightness to it. But I did find that I didn't have like a whole lot of fatigue with these. And again, I think they pushed it up to a point and then just dialed it back just enough so it didn't reach that point where like you have to take them out and just take a minute because it's just too much to take in. I will say though, the soundstage and the sound imaging is not extremely open in this pair. And it could be because of that dynamic tuning. It just kind of makes you feel a little bit more closed in and isolated. This is going to come down to personal preference. Some people don't like the wide open feel and they like things to be a little bit more isolated. Now, I personally do like things to be opened up a little bit more. So I would have liked to have seen this be something that they worked on here, but you can, if you want to, switch it into the theater mode to get that 3D effect. It does open it up, or at least add some reverb to it. But again, in my opinion, that just destroys the music altogether. So I don't necessarily recommend switching it into that mode. But honestly, my overall opinion on this pair is for under $50 right now, yeah, this one's kind of a no-brainer. It's easy to recommend, especially if you're just looking at sound alone. If you're looking for a pair that you can wear at work and just wear all day, it checks that box as well. Qi wireless charging is a huge plus in a pair that's under 50 bucks. The LDAC playback I always appreciate, and if you do want the Snapdragon sound, obviously there's some other models in this same lineup that you could get. But this one, I think EarFun, again, this kind of goes back to what it was when they started. They just had so much value that it was kind of crazy what you were getting for your money, and the 4i kind of falls right into that category. But I do worry that that's like too many models under the same name, like EarPro 4 normal, Pro 4 Plus, and now Pro 4i, that it's going to get confusing for consumers on what it is they're actually looking for. But this is honestly a hell of an earbud, and I think it's going to fly under the radar, but it's definitely one that I recommend people checking out. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new EarFun Pro 4i's. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.